am the amazing CPA. And that is not a boast. But what is on my legal patent? Nah, I'm joking. Hi, everyone. You guys know me as C, and today I will be analyzing and giving my own opinions on the 2009 musical named Ride the Cyclone. Now, how this will work is I will go over the main story and summarize each of the characters before giving my own thoughts and opinions on the musical. If you enjoy this type of content, like, subscribe, and comment down below a musical horror game or horror piece of media you'd like to hear me talk about, or just other really good movies. Now, if you haven't heard of Ride the Cyclone before, this 2009 play has had many changes made to it over the past 2 decades, but the main storyline hasn't changed much at all. When we open the musical, we hear a hauntingly beautiful voice who described life as a dream that spirals over and over before we can really process. We are greeted by the fortune-telling machine, named the amazing Karnak, who will be our narrator and can provide comedic moments throughout the story. Karnak can predict the day, time, and cause of death. Very odd for a simple carnival machine, hence why he was set to family-friendly mode as to not scare patrons. He revealed that he could even predict his own death, which is that in an hour and a half. Otherwise, the length of the musical. A rat will chew through his power cord, causing it to short-circuit and electrocute them both. When he realized his mortality, he decided to perform one last act of good, to let the victims of the cyclone accident that killed the 6 high schoolers of the St. Cassian Chamber Choir in Uranium City, Saskatchewan, Canada, on the night of their deaths. He read all of their fortunes, knowing that they were doomed to die that night but was programmed not to tell. So as to let them release their true thoughts and fears, he revives them in an attempt to bring one back to life, even if by very odd means. You see, that day they participated in a competition against other choirs. So Karnak decided to turn their revival into a competition in itself. Each member will be allowed to sing, and by the end, by unanimous vote, someone will be allowed back to the land of the living. Very interesting concept, right? Well, why don't we meet our contestants?
Would be
Unhand me, you troglodyte!
Ocean O'Connell Rosenberg. Ocean was deemed the most successful girl in town. Very bright and seemed to know more than everyone. She was raised in a family of hippies and always felt out of place opposed to her parents. When she discovered what was out there in the world, she was determined to learn as much as she could. However, this just caused her to gain a massive ego about herself and her abilities. Whether or not she judges and boasts to be intentionally harmful can be up to your interpretation, but the fact of the matter is that she can be very harsh and hurtful. Her song is called What the World Needs, in which she recites a speech about the game being cruel and that we are all one. She sings about how what she does in life proves that she's somehow superior. She calls everyone a zero and makes assumptions about every character's future, basically saying that the other 5 wouldn't amount to anything in life, which is even more messed up when you remember they're all dead. She's boasting in the afterlife. I'm genuinely curious of how she would act if they all had survived. Would she have gotten worse? Gotten better? Either way, based on the evidence given in the actual musical, we'll never see that future Ocean throughout the entirety of the musical. She tries to be the voice of reason, but tends to fall flat due to how she goes about it, even after the other songs. She judges for things she deems as improper, such as cursing or things of a sexual nature. Overall, she clearly has a narcissistic personality, clear by her actions and in the way she constantly attempts to fix. Her mistakes and acts like that was all part of the plan. However, Ocean does have a redemption arc moment, though I will explain that towards in the end of the story. Noel Gruber. Noel was deemed the most romantic boy in town, always having an affinity to the drama and extravagant aspects of life. He knew he was gay from a young age, but his mother urged him to try and fit in more with the other kids in town, as while being gay wasn't necessarily seen as bad or evil. it still wasn't widely accepted. Noel always felt that he was in the wrong place, the wrong era overall, like he was made for something more. He wanted cruel, rough passion, like he would never know where his next fix of pleasure or drugs would ever come from. Even though the reality is that he works at Taco Bell and is miserable. His song is called Noel's Lament, which, fun fact, is technically a ballad rather than a lament, because it tells a story instead of displaying tragedy like a lament. In his song, he plays a role named Monique Gibault, a prostitute in post-war France. He describes a life where Monique is judged for her ways, but expresses indifference and ecstasy in her life, going through a roller coaster of men and drugs, until she dies of typhoid flu in a dark alley. Monique is basically Noel's alter ego, at least what he wishes he could do in life, even if he is stuck in Uranium City, based on a movie he watched as a child, in a cut version of the musical. Monique had a daughter but ended up selling her for drugs. Even with the musical exploring more taboo topics in general, the original writer felt as if that subject matter was too much. Throughout the musical, he has a very sassy and unapologetic personality, not afraid to call Ocean out on her stuff when she's doing wrong, but he also has a softer, more vulnerable side, especially when he is talking about his passions. Prime example of this is after another character, named Misha, gets emotional after his performance. He comforts him and even offers to vote for him to be brought back to life. This is to show even with him disliking Ocean, he can be kind. Noel is a fan favorite for a handful of different reasons, but mostly because he provides multiple iconic lines that are used across the fan base.
Nothing beats a bitch better than me when you piss me off. And right now, if you shut the fuck up, you can save your house from being burnt down.
Misha Basinski. Misha was deemed the angriest boy in town, known for getting into constant trouble and being abrasive. Born to a uranium factory worker mother in the Ukraine, he was sent to Canada to adoptive parents due to his mother getting deathly ill. From his treatment growing up, he grew up filled with rage and disdain for the uranium that killed his mother, causing him to act out. Weirdly though, he turns this rage into YouTube raps and meets a Ukrainian woman named Talia in his YouTube comment section, who eventually becomes his fiancée. Very questionable, but let's be real. We've heard way worse love stories from him. His songs are called This Song Is Awesome and Talia. Honestly, two completely different tones and genres of music. But this is to show two parts of his personality. This Song Is Awesome is a auto-tuned rap song where he describes living lavishly, hanging with friends and getting into VIP clubs for he meets this girl that mesmerizes him. This is where Talia comes in. He starts it off with a speech, stating how much Talia has changed his outlook on life, and how he can't wait to finally marry her and take her as his wife. Then he begins to sing in Ukrainian, literally singing "I love you, Talia" repeatedly. A projection on the screen of Talia in a grassy field plays throughout the song, starting on the female cast members' skirts and ultimately culminating in the projection, soloing out on Misha's shirt where his heart is. Throughout the musical, he has much more modern and aggressive language than the rest of the cast, but alongside the aggression, he is also rather genuine, complimenting and cheering on the cast whenever they do something he thinks is dope. Richard Potts. Ricky was deemed the most imaginable boy in town. Head always in the clouds thinking God knows what. He was born with a degenerative bone disease, causing him to lose the ability to speak, followed by the ability to walk without crutches. His parents took a vow of silence when he lost the ability to speak, only communicating in an odd version of sign language, taking care of all their cats, 14 cats. Due to his loss of speech, most people acting indifferent towards his ailment, he tended to have wild fantasies, and his song honestly reflects that perfectly. His song is called Space Age Bachelor Man, and this song is a doozy. He describes a fantasy where he is the savior of the Zolarian, alien race, a group of cat aliens. He sings about having sex with the women of the race and saving the whole planet and galaxy from Count Dogulus by embracing love and sexual things of that nature. Throughout the musical, Ricky tends to be awkward and a little eccentric, but it is clear that's just from how he was raised. Also, from this technically being a big game and competition, he makes video game references constantly. His whole song is very interesting. I'll say that, to be completely honest. You need to watch it for yourself because my description isn't going to do it justice. In fact, I will link all of the songs. Performances in the description, just so you can go watch them all, then come back to this video.
Burn my house to the ground! My family's dead! What do I do?
Jane Doe, the most forgotten girl in town. Jane's body was severely mangled and she was decapitated in the cyclone accident, causing her identity to never be found until the end. Hence naming her a Jane Doe, in case you don't already know what a Jane Doe or a John Doe is. These are terms for unidentified victims in a wide range of cases, in order for her to be somewhat presentable for the rest of the cast to see. A doll head was put in place to replace her head, giving her a very uncanny and stiff appearance. This is why throughout the show, she carries around a headless doll. That's literally where her head came from. Her song is called The Ballad of Jane Doe, which, fun fact again, is not a ballad but instead a lament, due to its depressing nature. On top of that, a ballad is meant to tell a story, but her whole narrative is that nobody knows her identity. She technically has no story until the end of the musical. She sings about yearning to know who she once was, and how because she has no identity. She is easily forgotten to the world like every other Jane or John Doe. She asks God if this was how she deserved to die, completely forgotten and not a whole person, figuratively and literally. Throughout the musical, she acts somewhat unhinged, but more and so just having a constant look of confusion, looking around whenever she isn't speaking. Jane Doe is another fan favorite due to this nature, because it has almost an innocence and childlike quality. Plus, she is always dancing the hardest in the other songs, alongside the character Constance, so that definitely adds to her popularity. Constance Blackwood. Constance was deemed the nicest girl in town, always placating others' needs and never denying anyone. She is Ocean's best friend and gets bullied by her a lot, even when she's just expressing herself, especially for her slight hypersexuality. I mean, Ocean told her to stop dancing to old porno music. Her section is slightly different, as instead of the usual monologues, she describes the last 7 to 9 minutes that occurred before her death. She lost her virginity to a carny at the fall fair, in which she felt bad about as they got on the Cyclone because he was really gross. As the accident occurred, she felt a sudden appreciation for all the small things that happen in life that we often overlook until we don't have them anymore. She described hearing all the screams of everyone around her before it all just went blank. That's when she began reflecting. Her song is called Sugar Cloud, where she describes life as a jawbreaker. You work hard to get to the goal and you see all the colors passing you by until it all comes to an end. And basically saying to enjoy life while you have it, because you never know when it will be taken away. Also, she has a fire recorder solo in the song. I'm sad they cut that from some iterations of the song. Throughout the musical, she's either quiet or being cut off by someone, and the lines she does get are most often in reaction to someone else. Mostly Jane Doe and Ocean. I personally love Constance as she is very sweet. But it felt good seeing her be able to let go and not be roped in with the others for once. As for the ending, I have mixed feelings about it, but for what the story is, I think it's a fitting ending. After everyone votes, Karnak tells Ocean that she has the final decision. So whoever she picks will be brought back to life. She was about to walk through the hole but feels immense guilt, because she knows she's not the one who really deserves that second chance. She repeats what Karnak says in the beginning. that the winner shall redeem the loser in order to fill the hole, basically saying the winner will give this opportunity to the one who deserves it the most. And so, Ocean says Jane should get it, and once she walks through, we finally figure out who our Jane Doe is. Her name is Penny Lamb, and from her being brought back to life, she was allowed to live a long life until she died of old age. The rest of our 5 end off the musical with a song called It's Just a Ride, which is a slight reprise of the beginning song, Fall Fair, finally accepting their deaths and allowing them to pass on. What I'd want from an ending, and I know this isn't realistic, but so is an anthropomorphic rat named Virgil chewing through a specialty fortune-telling machine. I wish that more of the cast could be brought back to life as they all had big dreams, only to be crushed by a failing roller coaster. The best ending would be like everyone wakes up in the hospital alive. They were all close to death, but by some miracle, releasing their hopes and dreams brought them back to life. But for the ending that they chose, making Penny be the one who comes back is for the best. Mainly because nobody knows who she is as a person. She was roped in with the rest of the choir and didn't even get an identity in death. The rest had lives. Even if cut short, we don't know her life before the accident. Therefore, she deserved that second chance to live life with family, friends, and most importantly, recognition. Now, for my opinions, I personally love this musical, as I had heard music from it for years from YouTube, and once I finally watched it, it felt so much better to actually hear the story. Perks to my friend for telling me to watch it, as it was honestly what I needed for a musical. As far as characters, the only one I can't stand is Ocean. And I think you can tell why, as she is a narcissist. All the scenes where she's speaking, it's most often something condescending towards someone, though I will admit that her allowing Jane to be revived made me not hate her as much, but still don't like her. And I will admit, what the world needs is a fire song, honestly. Just stop calling everyone zeros and we'll be good. No, he is so sassy and I love that about him. I won't say he is my favorite, but he's my 3rd favorite out of everyone. He does have my 2nd favorite song of the musical though. Noelle's Lament was the very first song I ever heard from the musical, and I've even used it for a video. That's how much I remembered it before I even saw the musical, which was early this year. I thought I was gonna feel more indifferent to him, but how can you when he's that fabulous? Misha, I think he was the character that made me laugh the most. Because, I was not expecting a Ukrainian guy to bust out rapping, followed by a love song for his online fiancé. I won't say he's my favorite, but I honestly want to meet him in real life. With how two-toned his personality is. Also, Talia is one of the most beautiful musical songs I have heard. I will not change my mind unless you can prove me wrong. Ricky. Oh, Ricky. Honestly, I did not know how to feel about him. Once again, a hilarious character. But Space Age Bachelor Man took me for a trip my first time hearing it. Because, the song is fire with him and vibe-wise. But those lyrics had me dying laughing. I legitimately sent that performance to my mom along with Jane Doe's performance. Simply because the difference between the two is astronomical. Ricky is a strange boy. Can we love him for it? Jane Doe, her, and another character are basically tied for my favorites. Jane initially scared me, as she should. But once I continued watching, I fell in love with her. Especially that design. I seriously want to dress up as her for Halloween. But that depends if I want to do the sclera lenses or not. And the Ballad of Jane Doe, I had physical shivers. Especially when she started floating and singing upside down. I believe her actress's name is Emily Rome. I was so shocked that she was able to keep her voice stable and even more powerful upside down. And finally, Constance. She is my tie for favorite character. Her character is honestly adorable and relatable. Lillian Castillo's Constance is honestly my favorite, just because she captures the concept of that character perfectly. Plus, when she sang Sugar Cloud, I legitimately got up and started dancing. It had no right being such a bop. As for questions about the musical, I'm genuinely curious. How did Jane Penny come back to life? We all know that she was decapitated and her body was mangled so much to the point where there were no identifying markers of her body. So how was she able to come back to life to live a full life to old age? Did her head just randomly respawn? Did she not get onto the cyclone? Therefore, nothing would have happened to her body, so she'll just live on? If there actually is a determined answer for this, please tell me in the comments because it's a mystery to me. Number 2, is Talia real? I mean, I don't wish for Mika to be catfished, but yet again, we don't know if she's even real. I personally think she's real, but I will say that it's not out of the idea for her to either. A, not being real. B, a girl he may have met online but never actually got into an official relationship with and he imagined it. Or C, it's like how he describes and they are seriously engaged and have just yet to meet. I think this could be up to interpretation, but I'll let you guys decide. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you all for listening to me ramble for however long the video may be. I may do a more in-depth analysis another time, but I want to see how you guys like musical content first. I will be linking down in the description every performance video and a full recording of the musical so you can see the non-singing parts. Have a great day, night, or afternoon. Let me know your thoughts down below and what your theories are, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, babes.
Only on them seas with this breeze. Red ruby the sleeves, Chinese on my sleeve. These wanna be Chun-Li's anyway, yee out.